Round one. Hey, it's Divinus, and let's slow things down for a second. Let's come into ourselves. Just for a moment, let's check in. Where are you weak? And I'm not saying this in like a judgmental way or trying to make us feel bad about what we're weak for. Being aware of what you're weak at actually makes you pretty strong. That was real generic and like kind of corny, but it's the truth. And a lot of the times it's not even the situation, it's the part of you that the situation touches, but not in like a little creepy like way, but like it's certain things that touch you. Ooh, that hit me in my heart. You hurt my heart. Hit me my gut. Hit me my ass. Hit me upside the back of my head. So, in today's video, we're going to learn how to get stronger. Wait. Is it not? Oh wait, it's not even nothing. You see those guns? Yeah. Let's just take that off here. Let's start off at a baseline where I know most people are the weakest. So we're gonna get into the nitty gritty, sensitive, touchy, pokey, wokey, squishy parts of you. The squishy parts, the part that makes you flinch. Scary, flinch. Scary.
Scurry. Snap.
Yeah, the parts of you that tense up when someone touches it. The first one I notice a lot is finances. We gotta talk about it. It's always the money. I honestly think that majority of the problems would be fixed if most people actually had money. Money and low key kind of do buy happiness, but nobody wants to admit that because nobody wants to sound like a materialistic asshole. But like, no, because it's what the money can provide. If I have money, then I feel comfortable, I feel stable, I feel safe, I will be able to, feed my family, pay my bills, So money stings when we feel like we don't have it, because it's like, you feel like your entire livelihood is literally at stake. So what can we do when we're now aware that money hurts us? We're aware that it is a weakness. Anytime you feel your stability being thrown off, I'm going to give you 3 ways to make you feel stable again. 1 free way: eat. Yes, eat some food if you can. Drink some water if you can. Rest if you can. And do something physical. I would recommend to go outside and sit in the grass. That's it. No, that was 4 ways. Special magic tricks. Just basic human needs. Tell yourself out loud, I am safe. Yes, I just saw this bill. Yes, I can see my bank account. But right now, looking around, there's nothing going on. they're not coming to repossess my this very moment. And even if they do, quite honestly, sometimes when that shit goes, it just brings like, oh my gosh, I don't have to worry about this anymore. But that's for another day, for another conversation. But yeah, we just do some real basic stuff. Eat, drink, go walk, go touch grass, go sit in the grass, go sit in the sun, go outdoors, go into nature, basic free things. Because when you do that and you allow your body to feel safe and not feel in a flighty position, you're then able to think of solutions from a clearer standpoint. But if you are very, very frantic, it might cause you to mess up and make frantic decisions in that moment. We collect ourselves, we sit in our seats, we take back in position of our bodies, we feel safe back in our bodies, and then we make decisions on what we're gonna do. But this is just for the step before. Yeah. The next weakness that shows up is emotion. And the way you know that this emotional trigger has been pressed on you is if you may feel lonely, you may feel bored. Yes, boredom is a sign of emotionally being triggered. I'll explain why. Or uncomfortable. What usually happens in this emotional state is that you reach for something to numb the emotion or distract you from the emotion, or basically numb and distract and forget that that emotion exists. So we'll go reach for our phones when we're bored. Boredom is an emotion, and sitting in boredom can sometimes trigger you to feel like, I need to fill this space, so I'm going to just do anything. And your first instinct is to reach for something when an emotion hits. This is how you have like emotional eating, phones. The doom scrolling is based off of the emotion of just boredom. You're just bored. Obsessively smoking or obsessively drinking to the point where you completely are like inebriated. And remember, we already talked about vices and how it's okay to have these things, but when you're triggered emotionally, you're more likely to reach for these things to fill that void of the emotion that you want to receive, because it causes you to not actually deal with the emotion, but to escape it. So how do we combat this one? How do we fight that little trigger or that little soft spot when we feel the emotion of being stuck or that we want to escape? We have to move. So when you feel this emotion, you need to pause. If you feel yourself doom scrolling, even in the middle of doom scrolling, like, oh my gosh, I've been sitting here scrolling for 3 hours. Pause. Ask the question. What am I avoiding right now? It could be bedtime. It could be sleeping. It could be just trying to get your mind off of something. And when you figure out what it is that you're avoiding, even if you can't figure it out, there's another loophole. You can move. You got to get up and move. This emotion loosens with the motion. That's how you can remember that. You want to loose some emotions? Get in motion. Sway your bodies, do some stuff, turn on some music, and just dance. And let it out, you know? And another way you can get it out is by expression. Drawing, journaling, writing, all those things. And then to get it out, you can literally just, sometimes I just be like I'm possessed. Like if I like catch myself like scroll, I'm like, wait, I've been stuck for too long. And I just do that. And I like shake myself back into awareness of like, yeah, wow. Also, another helpful tip is just to sit with it. Sit with the emotion a little bit longer than you usually would. guys, even if you sit with the emotion that is really, really deep, like them hard-hitting ones, cry. Crying releases emotion. It's like almost the fastest way to get rid of stuff, because it's flowing and it's your body, and you using, like, you feel it in your heart, and you feel it in, so it's almost like I feel like a heart-mind connection, and then here comes the waterworks, and just cry and just shake or scream. I love to scream. Look, ah! Yes, I love to scream. The next point that gets hit, where you can be weak and squishy when someone touches it, is the ego. Ooh. Ooh. It's like when someone criticizes you, or you feel maybe, if you maybe feel like overlooked, or you feel small, then that's sensitive. Like when someone does that towards you. But we're becoming aware of it now. So say someone comes up to me and they say, "You skinny." My ego. And now I'm doubting myself, and I'm shrinking myself, making myself feel small, because, oh my God, you just called me a skinny bitch. And now, like, am I skinny? Do I need to eat more? So the question you want to ask when someone hits you in the ego is, am I giving my power away right now to them? Am I letting their words or their actions dictate how I'm going to feel about myself internally? Like, they said I was something and I took it and I said, yes, I am. Give it to me. That's giving your power away. You think you all that in a bag of chips, and someone says you're not all that in a bag of chips, and you say, here, take my chips. Girl, keep your chips, because everything doesn't deserve a reaction, and everything does not deserve access to you. So to build yourself back up when the ego gets hit is do what you say you're gonna do. It builds self-confidence. If you say you're gonna go to bed at 9 o'clock, go to bed at 9 o'clock. If you say you're gonna drink more water, drink more water. It kind of starts with you. And think about it as like a muscle that's building. You have to daily show yourself that, because if you don't believe in what you say, when someone comes and says otherwise, it's going to just knock you off, because you don't really believe it. So to believe more in what you say is to actually show yourself who you are and what you're going to do, because that makes you believe in yourself more. The next soft, squishy trigger is our hearts. This can feel triggered when you feel unappreciated, unchosen, and like emotionally ignored. That hits the heart. So what happens when this trigger is hit? Why am I hitting my hand? When this trigger is hit, you either tense up and close off and shut up, and shut up. Close off and shut down and go isolate yourself. Or when this trigger is hit, sometimes it makes you run and overly cling to the person. Please love me. Like closing all these doors and locking them and hiding in there and like, and it's not anger, it's just because you're hurt. Sometimes when people are hurt, they try to like overgive themselves to compensate for the hurt, thinking that it'll stop hurting because you'll finally see me, you'll finally love me. Or it makes some of us isolate because we're hurt and we don't want to deal with the pain directly. So we'll just rather shut it all up and shut it down and go to bed. So when this happens, we're going to ask the question, am I reacting from pain or am I reacting from truth? Now, if somebody keep you over and over again, you go ahead and cut them off. You can go ahead and isolate yourself and dip. But if you're shutting down and you never told this person, this hurts me, you can't shut down if you never said it. How we're gonna combat this little trigger is whatever you're seeking in your heart, give it to yourself. So remember we said feeling unappreciated, unchosen. So choose you. Appreciate yourself. Go to the store and buy yourself some flowers. Go take yourself out to eat. Dress up nice for yourself. Do things that you want done to other people. Pour it into yourself. And this is how you combat that feeling. Next weak spot is our voices. If you have trouble speaking up, if every time you do talk, you over explain yourself, or you hold your voice back so long that by the time it comes out, you explode everywhere. Then that voice, throat, neck box got touched. For this one, some tips some things you can do once you feel it being attacked. So this one is kind of different because in the moment you can't do these tips, but what you recognize is in the moment when you know that this thing got hit, it's okay, I gotta work on my voice. Literally work on your voice. Sing. Singing is the easiest way to be able to channel your energy in your voice and be able to say, I don't know why, but I be singing to the top of my lungs, and it literally has helped me be able to speak more clearly. Sing everything. Sing even when there's nothing playing. Make up your own songs. Sing, or even just talk to yourself. Talk out loud. Just talk. And y'all would not believe, I understand this one so deeply. This one used to be my biggest soft spot, biggest weakness, because I literally had selective mutism majority of my childhood. And then I took it a little bit into my adulthood, and it took me a long time to really be able to speak to people, because it's a real trigger, but it's in a different way. That one's, out of all of them, it's like a different type of trigger, because people might not necessarily have to say anything to you, for you to still feel this, it might not be under attack, targeted in a certain way, but it is a target, because if you can't speak or express yourself, you can't get things that you want or that you may need. Speaking allows us to exchange communication, and all that is very important for just this human experience. We have that's almost like a bird, or animals not being able to communicate with each other. That doesn't exist. So we should be able to freely talk to whoever we please and want, but there's usually a underlying fear of your voice, because you don't know how to express yourself correctly. You either don't say enough, you either over explain, or you either explode every time you're being talked to. So that one's a little tricky. So, and also when it comes to things, start saying things very simple. Yes and no. Don't over explain yourself. Say what you say and say it. And sometimes you might not be able to say it yet. You might need to text it. Because sometimes, for some reason, I can text and explain things easier in my writing than I can explain it in words. But we're getting better at that. The next weak spot is our mind. It's actually my worst weak spot, like, swear to God. My mind is just like, so I really had to work hard at getting control over my mind and getting control over my thoughts. Cause them motherfuckers was running wild. What it feels like is like you're thinking, it makes you feel like you're thinking through things, but then it creates you to think in a spiral. For me, it was more like a web. So I would think one thought, and then that thought would branch into another thought and branch into another, and then it had the nerve to always be negative. So I just walking around with a spider web of negative thoughts in my mind, constantly just going off, and you can just imagine the chaos that I could feel constantly, because you're still here, but all this stuff is like, it's almost like just a tornado just going through your mind, constantly just throwing all the thoughts around. You had no control. Signs of this is like you replay conversations over and over in your head. You assume the worst thing will happen before it actually even happens. You read too deeply into small things. So someone might not have meant something the way that you thought it, and you done thought something totally different. Sometimes with me, I would get like a slight headache. It's like my mind be mentally tired. Like my brain is being overworked because I'm having too many thoughts. And then sometimes it will make you can't even sleep because you have so many thoughts going on in your head. And then it gets so bad to the point where you struggle with even making simple decisions. And that's a tough one. So some questions that you can ask yourself when you feel weak in this is, do I have proof of this, or am I just assuming it? Is this actually happening, or am I just creating it in my head? And the last question is, what is actually real for me in this very moment? Because when those spiderweb of thoughts are like going off, I'm thinking about stuff that they ain't got nothing to do with what I'm doing at the very moment. I'm thinking of stuff in the past. It is all over the place, and it actually has nothing to do with me sitting in my room or me driving to a destination. It has nothing to do with anything, but my mind makes me believe that it's real, that those thoughts have meaning or significance, when realistically they are thoughts. They just exist in your head. You don't have to act on them, and you don't have to overthink on them, which is exactly what I was doing. So the biggest thing for me, when a lot of thoughts would come up, it would make me immediately, you have to slow down. Too much input also just adds to the thoughts. So even if you're watching a TV show, listening to a song, scrolling on your phone, you don't want to add more input. Your brain is almost, I feel like a lot of thoughts that just cause your brain to go into overdrive, and it's heated. So what would you do to a heated computer or something that's like overdriven? You're going to unplug it, slow it down, reset it. So a whole bunch of thoughts throwing at you. We're resetting everything. We're slowing it down. We're doing simple things. Not too much overstimulation. Watching a show that maybe we already watched before, so we already know what to expect. Don't try to start anything new. Don't try to plan anything big. Don't try to make big decisions. Sometimes, like, I will have planned to make a certain dinner, and if I'm too overwhelmed or I'm overthinking too much, we go simple. Minimize your tasks and minimize your decision making when your mind is thinking too much, because it's going to create more thoughts. That's just going to make you feel worse. And usually for me, it's rest. Rest can shut it up really fast, but like I said, sometimes the thoughts itself still make you not be able to rest. But put on the soft sounds, turn off your electronics, sit in silence. And sometimes you're like, well, sitting in silence, it makes me just keep looping my thoughts. For me, sometimes I finish the thought, and what I mean by that is I will write. Like if it's a thought that's saying, you got this to do, you need to do this, and I'm in the bed and I'm ready to go to sleep, and it's telling me a thought that I need to do, then you You're going to sound like a crazy person, but you can talk back to the thoughts. It says something that you don't, no, that's not going to happen right now, because when we're internalizing the thought already, so speaking to it is not going to be much, it doesn't make it any much different because we're already taking on it like it's a real person talking to us, and we're believing it. So we might as well speak to it and make it more believable, like, all right, I'm not doing that right now. We're not thinking about this right now. Right now, we're trying to sleep. The next thing that gets hit is something that is not a physical thing on us. You can get hurt in connection. That's a really easy trigger for a lot of us. It's when you feel like something is off, when you feel like something is missing, but you can't name it. Signs that this has been triggered. You feel disconnected from yourself and your purpose. You feel numb or empty instead of emotional. You question everything, but you don't feel grounded in anything. You constantly look for meaning outside of yourself. So if you're feeling any of these things, the questions that you can ask yourself while you're feeling it is, what actually matters to me right now?
Eve.
When was the last time I sat in silence with myself? And am I avoiding anything? And am I avoiding myself by being distracted? This one is kind of like the thoughts as well. So you stay still, you lower down the noise, you get more connected with yourself, even if it's uncomfortable at first. It's just uncomfortable at first. Some of your biggest weak spots are not loud. They feel normal, a part of your daily routine. If someone does something or I experience something, I feel this thing and I go with it. I don't even realize that it's even happening until you realize that it has been running you the entire time. Being aware of your weaknesses is your greatest superpower. Sometimes we want to feel like I'm weak there, so I run from my weaknesses or hide from them or act like it really didn't hurt that bad. But confronting them and learning when the kryptonite is out will allow you to navigate and feel more at peace within yourself. And that's all we're aiming and striving towards, is being completely sovereign and at peace and just existing as us, no matter what triggers us. I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching this video. Hold up. I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching this video. I truly appreciate it. I'll see you in the next one. Good